little snack goat shoe. Nicely done. Fights for every bit of that along the way. And there will be no shutouts in game numero uno.
And a little snack, finding just that, a little snack here into the back of the net. Put them up on the board. That'll allow them to eat up a little bit of this space.
I mean, that's great and all, but you're looking in the wrong spot. Shark motion needs to stay in motion or else they die. Monkey gonna ensure the rest of the team does so as well. Flawless victory.
Pretty good at this time, and we talked about how Sonic with the lead is such a scary character, especially if you're able to really just take away any space. Arsene comes out now, Big Brother is watching, goes for the up air up top, isn't going to be able to take the stock just yet, and I love the use of the up B.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in to week number 8 of WSSEA 2025 spring season, of course, powered by LandFest. It's the final week of regulation before getting ready for that postseason. But before we get into that exciting Valorant action, I've got to introduce my brother to the digital right here. D'Lo, how are we feeling today, my friend?
Feeling great, dude. It's a good day. The weather outside, at the very least for me, is absolutely lovely. And like you said, we're starting to come to a boiling point here with the games, with regular season coming to a fever pitch. And also, what better way to end than with two teams even in the standings here today? It's John Roger up against our friends on Southridge, and both are 6-1. We've seen our fair share of sweeps, hot sauce. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm on bent knees that today's a bit different.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams have only lost to Prairie Valorant Varsity, who happened to lose to Camus, who I know Rogers Gold did beat as well. I'm not sure if Southridge has played him yet. So there's like 3 or 4 teams sitting up at this 6-1 record. They've all had a chance to kind of topple each other, but also losing to some of the similar teams. So it lets you know how close some of this competition is toward the top of those tiers here. But you mentioned it, Southridge 6-1, Rogers Gold, the Pirates also 6-1 as we get ready for a best of one here on Haven.
Indeed, which means it's going to be that tri-side map, which does mean that it's a bit attacker side favored, but we have two teams that are very familiar with being on either side of the coin and performing dominantly nonetheless. So going to be looking forward to seeing if indeed it's just an immediate headlong clash where it's just tied from the moment, or can someone break ahead early, find the momentum to try to get a few rounds and streaks. I think that's what's going to come down to. We've talked about this before sometimes, how important it is to string together multiple victories, and that's when you can start to make those longer strides toward that finish line. But not in sight quite just yet. Instead, we want to first kick off things by laying down the foundations and giving a huge shout out to our friends at Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you, helping to showcase the amazing talent in Scholastic Esports. Let's show our appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join the community on the Discord, and don't forget to use the hashtag powered by Zotac, or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
Yeah, I know I like to get on there and put hashtag ZotacUSA and let everybody know who you're going to think is who's going to win today's game, excuse me. But we're getting ready for that agent select screen. As D'Lo had mentioned, we are heading in toward Haven, one of these 3 site maps that's been around since the inception of Valorant. So it is a little bit more attacker favored. We do see, again, I think double sentinels can be great here, especially when trying to deal with a Tejo. That's something that's been able to kind of deal with that Tejo a little bit. But we talk about comfortability picks, and that's also something that comes into play here during this Scholastic level. So we won't have to wait too much longer, D'Lo. We're on and in toward that agent select screen.
Something we talked about last week as well was just how important compositions could be. We unfortunately had our friends on, I believe, Fredo last week who just didn't bring enough smoke to take the smoke from the enemy team. You got to make sure you have a composition that's well balanced to take on the opponents, and also make sure that your defenses are all well shored up, especially when you have so many angles to cover from, right? The fact that there's 3 sites, you've got to spread your forces thin. That means individual plays sometimes become a bit more important than everyone cohesively standing all 10 toes down on one single point. Now, we got to kind of divide and conquer a bit more.
Yeah, honestly, I love Cypher on this map. Cypher very good at locking down the C site, because a lot of times on defense you see this 2-1-1 split where you've got 2 on A, 1 on B, 1 in garage, and 1 on C. So because those forces are spread a little thin around B and C, you have that floater in garage. You can go either way, and then that rotation toward A is a little bit further away, so you're a little more comfortable stacking 2 on there, because there are 2 points of entry onto that A site. You have the A main, which is that very long corridor you go down, and of course the sewers down below an A there as well. So Sova, very good on this map. Doesn't surprise me that we see 2 Cyphers. We have the Clove, who's very good at smokes, but Brim on the other side of things. A Yoru on both sides, and then that Phoenix as well. So not a ton of mirror action on this one, other than I believe that Yoru and that Cypher.
The Cypher makes a lot of sense, too, to even further expound on what you mentioned, which is why this pick's so great. The fact you have the divide and conquer, well, if you're able to get that neural network attack with that ulti in pocket, you don't really have to worry about the unknown of where the heck is everyone on this gosh darn map. It all becomes revealed. So having all that extra intel is going to be incredibly useful. That being said, you're right. We do still have quite a bit of zigs where others zag. We have a lot of intel when it comes to John Rogers and what they're capable of putting down for that map awareness. You have the Sky, who can try to make sure to track people down. You have the Yoru to try to bait out some oppositional fire. And of course, you have that Cypher with the spy cam. So I do like Rogers Gold's composition, especially with this map, and especially considering that they're the ones that have got to make sure to hold down the fort right now.
Yeah, and we got a little message from the coach from Southridge, Jason, before we got going here, talking about Southridge has been in esports for the last 5 years, starting off with League, but now they do Rocket League, Overwatch, Street Fighter, Minecraft, Valorant, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Apex, Guilty Gear, and Super Smash. They've got a ton, with 12 former players now playing in the college scene as well. But we'll waste no time getting into round 1. It's Plaid Stripes and the kill feed as everybody's getting a piece of the action. Lom and Dan, the last 2 standing here, as they have the 2v1 against Sky. The blind's a nice one, and 1 tap will put down Tom.
That guiding light leads them to a potential clutch factor. Goes for the 1v2, and Zev's going to win it. The captain leads by example and takes down the pistols round. Rogers Gold looking golden already.
That's right. The Pirates come to make the other competition walk the plank. They do it nicely here in round 1. Zev, and a 2v1, has a phenomenal clutch with that ghost in hand, and that'll allow them to buy into this next round. You hope to see the whole team buy in together. We talk about one thing that's haunted these teams in the past, and it's not ecoing together and not buying together as a full team in some of these rounds. So that's one important factor I look for here today.
Well, looking at Southridge, it seems that they are indeed obeying by trying to show a bit of restraint here. We didn't take that round, so let's see what we can make good here in another secondary pistols round at this point. Static going to be able to equipping that Outlaw to try to make sure any ne'er-do-wellers around that corner going to be in some trouble. Funny Tunes, not laughing one bit. They take down Ottermelon with the quickness.
One down early, and it's Zira with the Sheriff, the Deagle Demon, coming out here for Southridge as they're looking to pull out a thrifty round themselves. And you see Dan beginning to shift through mid here. Has a little help from Zev. The strike from the smoke, and he finds Lopara and Oda. And with that, the blind Zin gets one as well.
Oh,
the
no!
into mid, and Zin's on fire.
Dear God, this Yoru is destructive and just so quickly. What seemed to be an okay start for Southridge. They were trading out even Stevens. All of a sudden, the 2 Zs, the last thing you ever see. Rogers Gold just absolutely stomps, and just goes to show what you mentioned can pay dividends when you're paying together. As long as everyone is coordinating their buys, it's going to spell good things for Rogers.
Yeah, speaking of Rogers, we got a kind of a script or a verb from Rogers' coach as well, Jamie Tamura, and this is their 5th year in the esports club as well. They started off as kind of an after-school thing in the band room. It's grown to an all-year program with multiple different games, and Last year, they walked away with a third-place finish in state. They've got their captain, their senior Zev, holding things down, and they got their eyes on the trophy. There's Zin, the captain that we might have been talking about, finding some big early picks.
They will fall after sacrificing their own life. The Clove will finally be able to take them down, but not before a lot of damage was wrought. You do see the guys dropping down rather low themselves, but Southridge have not really been liable to actually make any pushes for these sites. They saw them get close to the pistols round. One shot off with the Sheriff means your end as Seo says bye-bye to the sky.
Yeah, it is their full buy round, while Rogers is in their bonus round. So it's an important one for Southridge to be able to win here. Otherwise, they'll find themselves in some more economic trouble. Otter trying to make their way in. Some taps to the smoke as the fire comes down here as well. And the pressure in toward the back of the site. The plant going down with ease now. And it'll be up to the Rogers crew to find a retake.
Now this is interesting because they're already low and Funny Tunes are already Dunsky static as well. Seeing nothing but gray and only going to be the Brim left remaining. La Para la Nota going to take it para Southridge. The third round goes their way.
An important round for them. We talked about the importance of winning that full buy round. It's not a must win, but it's certainly an important one that they're able to close out on. Now for the Pirates, excuse me, they'll be in a full buy round as well. And so this realistically should be the first round we see both teams with a full buy, but it looks like Tom and Zira may be experiencing a little bit of economic trouble. They've got some teammates to help them out, so they will still be able to find a way to get some rifles in this round.
I mean, yeah, Zera's just had a bit of a rough going so far in comparison when you look at the kill board. I mean, especially when you compare it to their opposition, right, the Ditto, that they've got to face up against. It's the Ditto matchup, and Zen instantly proves anything you can do, I can do better. Wins that quick, you were a 1v1.
Yeah, I believe this is that senior captain here that we were told to look out for by the coach, but Static able to find CO Dan, and with that, they've got a two-player advantage to work with here, D'Lo.
This is looking rough. The obstacle's all secured. Otter Melon looking for headshots through the crates. Going to be able to find the wall bang too. Dark Valor will fall, so a good start there for Southridge to try to forge their way back in.
Trying to make things happen. Southridge, a bit of a disadvantage in popping that dimensional drift. He's going to go on a run and look for some intel. He's on the chase.
Guy's in trouble.
We saw some pings going out there as well, so he has to have an idea. But now the Stampede, they can hear the footsteps. This is Zev. There's that captain I was talking about. Sorry, not Zen. I got the two confused. Stepping out, though. The plant going down. A nice tap spray. Able to find the first. Can he get the second? No, it's Lapara to find that one.
All right, Spike's planted. You got to try to retake it. It's not going to come this way. Zen takes down one as Tom drops Static. It's going to be the Cypher that you're left for Rogers Gold, but papped in the corner. Funny Tunes finds the shots. No, they can't. Off the mark. One Cypher will clutch it back up as Zen goes down to Southridge. Take this round.
Almost stealing that one away. Really, it was Rogers who had the favorable numbers, but Southridge able to bring it back, and unfortunately, it looked like we almost got an ult out of Cypher, but was taken down a bit early there. So 2-2, all tied up. You take a look at the economy here, D'Lo, and it's in a little bit of shambles on the side of the Pirates.
I mean, you also look at the ult economy, right? They used Dimensional Drift for that. They tried to, like you say, use Cypher ult as well. It just didn't quite work out for them, and now you have so many tools available in Southridge's box. It's going to be really difficult, but a good blind there. The Guiding Light can't find the shots guided into the bodies of Southridge right after, though. Unlucky for Rogers.
Zev getting back to a safer position. The Molly comes down, but with that, we'll see a rotation coming out of Southridge here. And they've got 3 ults to work with, including that Hunter's Fury. If they can find a way to get a plant down, it makes that post-plant positioning so much easier here for Sova. And we can see Ottermelon, excuse me, on the lurk here around mid.
This is going to be difficult, especially considering that Otter's really been a great offensive force. It's very audacious in their willingness to boldly call it, nope, you're behind this crate, I'm just going to spray and pray. And prayer's not even needed just to get the skills necessary. Zev, unfortunately, might need to pray that one of these shots finds the mark as Zen goes down.
With that, Judge, he'll be the jury and the verdict here, putting bodies in the dirt. Shots continue to ring out, and CO Dan finds a third. It's a triple kill. Otter with the help, and he'll wrap it up with a quadra. Southridge firing on all cylinders.
Listen, Otter takes your ace, but you're not complaining if you're CO. Just make sure to get a nice assured victory, easily taken here by Southridge. And I know that you favor in this map when you're on the attacking side, but nonetheless, it does feel good to, again, string those rounds together at this point. Now now we're starting to get on a bit of a hot streak, and John Rogers are responding by trying to quickly cool their jets. You see them investing in some higher caliber rifles, some decent armor still on their side, so by no means are Rogers really hurting, but if they lose this round, that's when we start to see the recession take hold.
Yeah, Rogers with that full buy, but it's Southridge who's got not only the economy, but the alt economy as well. Zen will pop that decoy there as well. The blind goes out, but doesn't affect him. They begin to shift on site. There's Zero. Got to check the corners, though. Zen finds the first.
Oh,
It's Dark and
God.
Zev to combine for 3. The ult coming out of Clove on the hunt here. The chase, the spray, and neither will be able to connect.
They got to go in quickly, and Seo knows that unfortunately will be dropped just as soon after. Watermelon does take down Funny Tunes, drops down the firewall as well, but will that be enough to stop them as Tom goes down to Zen? Such a great offensive force, really just playing that corner so beautifully. Zera unfortunately was not caught unawares, and thus they will fall once again to their doppelganger. On the corner, they try to go with the TP. No one's going to be there, though, once you make your grand appearance. 50 seconds left of the clock, and Southridge not quite sure where to make their move.
Yeah, I mean, the spike is down in a very awkward position here on A, but you got to be careful. Walker with your knife out. You got to keep the gun out if you're not aware of where your opponents are. And Southridge turning that 3v2 now into a 2v2 as they begin to shift and rotate back toward the A site. You remember the spike is down here, so they've got to make the push in this direction.
Spy cam dropped as well. Could have the vision on Dark Valor, and indeed, they got a scope set on your eye, and the red dot is going to be enough. Watermelon, make sure to make it a quick end for Static 2. Southridge are on a hot streak.
Yeah, it was 2 in a row to start it off for the Pirates, but now 4 in a row for Southridge as they are on an absolute tear. They continue to invest in these 401ks. They put stacks in the bank. The economy looking good as they have a full buy. On the other side of things once again a bit scrappy, but at least for the Pirates, they did force Southridge to use 3 of those 4 alts. And so, all in all, it's not a horrible loss. But again, they've got to find a way to start putting rounds on the board. This is a scrappy buy for them, though. I don't know if this is the round that they find it.
Hunter's Fury is available for Sova, so you still do have that tool available as well. Zera trying to get a bit more aggressive. Goes in with the TP, but Zen already doing damage. Zera, though, this time will answer back. Seo's out of it. Lafardo knows that as well. Static manages to drop him, but Zera quickly finds Vengeance, and only the Cypher is left remaining.
Watermelon, the flash begins to make their way on toward the side as Cypher begins to linger on this flanking lurk here. And in through Garage they go. He's got the Stinger in hand, and it can be a headshot magnet, but it's tough to win 3v1s. There's not a ton of rounds in the magazine.
And maybe in that point you just try to bide your time. No, instead they try to make a valiant effort, but Tom will take them down. Southridge are just continuously dominating in terms of this just little 5-round piece they got going. And if you're John Rogers, right, like you said, defensive, not quite favored, how many rounds are you hoping, expecting to win to be in a good position once the lane switch happens?
I mean, that was an eco round, so they didn't do too bad of a job. They found picks, they built those ults, and now they can full buy. But, you know, you can work with 3, but ideally you're hoping to get at least 4. Anything extra above that 4 is nice, but 4 is certainly a feasible number to work with. And so I think that's the magic number at the moment. You work toward getting that there as well, but they've got the full buy. They've got 4 alts to work with, so they have to make sure they start solidifying a couple of these rounds and close them out.
Yeah, the sooner you put down Southridge, the better. And you can see we're kind of resetting the pace a little bit more slow and steady. Wins the race, certainly in Aesop's fable. They gotta hope they're able to implement well. Shooting from the smoke, from the cyber cage. Hell in a cell. Funny Tunes trades out their life for Watermelon. But they're just going to run it right back, so nothing lost, nothing gained. Southridge still sitting pretty. Tom sitting dead.
Yeah, big ult raining down here as Tom goes down, and Zen popping the flash, threads the needle and hits the headshot. The spray comes through, but Lapata through the box will find one as Dark gets the trade, and we're still back to a 2v2.
Yeah, the drift's available, I'm pretty sure there for Zera as well. Maybe not necessary. No, Watermelon's already down, and now here comes the clutch factor. Can they do it? No, Dark Valor just too brave for it and steps right up and knocks Zera down. Finally, Rogers Gold puts Southridge back into a losing position.
A much-needed round here for the Pirates as they grab that one and begin to work to build up that economy a bit. But In the grand scheme of things, things aren't bad here. Yes, it was 5 rounds in a row for Southridge, but you're still only down by 2 at this point with, a few rounds left in this first half. So realistically, you still have an opportunity to fight back to have a winning half or a tied half here as well. And honestly, that would be a great position heading into that offensive side of things.
I'm trying to think of, as far as the tactical decision-making here for Southridge, I don't really think there's anything flawed about it. I just think, honestly, sometimes the shots are not connecting on both sides, but particularly Southridge, I feel like when they turn corners, having a bit of a hard time making sure to land as easily. Now you can see a good blind comes in there, but it's not enough to dissuade Ottermelon from their prey. Zeb will fall without the captain. Does John R. Rogers have the leadership necessary to pull through?
Molly will slow things down a bit. We'll see him push back toward grass here and consider pressing through garage. We see a couple rotating toward that seaside. Cypher has it locked down at the moment. He needs to find the pick on toward Dark. You gotta check the corners. Pushing through smokes blindly can be tough to do. The blind comes in. Zira spots one on the other side here, but it looks like Southridge beginning to gain control here.
One more blind, not going to be enough. Funny Tunes will go down shortly after taking them out. So it's a 4v1 right now, but only the Yor left alive as Static will die too. A 1v4 situation, not one I envy, especially with the spike planted already. And just as quickly they'll be put down. Yet Ottermelon has a little consolation prize, but Southridge back on the dominance.
Yeah, I mean, this is great here from them. They only allow Rogers to get 1 round here. And with that, we talked about the importance of being able to, at a minimum, just put a couple on the board at the time. And so Southridge, a good, relatively quick response here. And with that round win, they solidify themselves a minimum of a tied half. So anything here forward will be a winning half for them. And you take a look at the economy, it's still strongly favoring Southridge.
I'm looking just at what Rogers can be doing to step up their game a little bit. So one, the shot placement, sure, but I do think that Static's been having a bit of a rough time. And unlike the Cypher, who you also saw was rocking a bit low on the leaderboards, they offer utility. But Static has got to offer damage, has got to offer bodies. And we're not seeing too many drop from their account. Has the sniper in hand, so definitely some potential to do some big numbers. But Southridge not getting the opportunity, playing this one nice and safe.
Anyone else?
Like to see him mixing up the strategies here as they do find Zen trying to pressure on toward the site. It'll be Southridge with an early pick, and Funny Tune stuck with a classic goes down here as well. It's Southridge looking to solidify that winning half here.
Got the wall from Ottermelon just to secure any vantage point they could and make sure that their approach was not going to be revealed easily. Now around the corner, Dark Valor just pushing up in positions that are not safe, has multiple angles of a potential entry. Curveball comes around the corner, not necessary, not going to find any targets with Static. Nearly gets the shot off that they were looking for. Unfortunately, this round just not going to be it. Ottermelon takes him out.
All of a sudden, Southridge finding that stride, looking to run away with it a bit here. And unfortunately for the Pirates, they didn't really have the economy to work with. And stepping out in toward that firing squad, it took them a second, but Ottermelon will find the 4K. Southridge with a nice 4-round lead.
Unfortunately, the fact that, listen, Zen had the pistol. Zeb had the pistol. If Zen had a rifle, it was curtains for at least one of them, but at the end of the day, whoever has got the bigger gun sometimes just ends up taking it. 3-7 here. You made that benchmark. You said 4 rounds we could feel good. Everything else is just gravy. Rogers are pretty close within that goal. They can feel good about it. They just got to grab one more. But I do think the fact that Southridge, like you also mentioned, were able to maintain, keep them at just getting one, prevented them from resting on those laurels. They were never able to get into their own rhythm. John Rogers still feel like they're marching to the beat of Southridge's drum.
Joke's over.
Yeah, again, and in games like this, especially on a map like this, it can be very one-sided. I've seen 10-2, 11-1s, even in the pro scene where they're able to come back, tie it up, send it into overtime. So the Pirates still have a very valid opportunity to turn things around here, but they're going to need at least one more round. Zira finding Funny Tunes, Dark finding the 2K, another one triple, and they look to turn it around.
Okay, hold on. Ace potential I see on the board. Static, come on now. All right, well, they got to kill at the very least. On to Ottermelon too, so pretty important target take down. Only the Cypher left. Not quite the agent you're looking for in terms of your 1v3 clutches, but hey, never say never as long as you never turn that corner without making sure that you're staying safe from the captain who's waiting.
Certainly don't envy the position they're in, but an opportunity for a big clutch. It's Zev. Beautiful crosshair placement and a nice headshot as they get that magic number of 4.
That feels good. Now Rogers can say we can relax a little bit. Obviously, we don't take the foot off the gas. We still try to win this round. You can see they clearly are with all the investments they've made. We're lacking armor there on Ottermelon. No, okay, I was about to say that would be an interesting decision, especially considering they're quite literally your best hope on the offensive side of things. But, Ultimate Economy, definitely not favoring Southridge here. It's going to be an uphill battle for them to take it. I'm hoping to see big things from Ottermelon in order for them to get the game back into their rhythm.
Pirates, 3 ults to work with. They're going to start with the Tour de Force in the hands of Chamber here as well. And an opportunity to bring this game within 2. They're walking
Oh, God, Zara.
right in toward the crosshair of Static. Does he peek
Goodbye.
out the flick, and he finds one. Teleports back to safety.
Beautiful. I mean, that's just pitch perfect, right? Use the ultimate for that exact reason. They are indeed a Tour de Force. Now Southridge just kind of at a reset situation. They've really made no forward progress through the map. Cypher waiting on their corner as well for the 2-piece members of Southridge that are walking around the side. Dark Valor takes on Ottermelon. Funny Tunes biding their time, but this is nothing to laugh at. No jokes being had. John Rogers dominant in this round.
Gonna go bald and get all the intel here as well. Great trigger discipline.
Done.
Out of the Cypher. Zen finding the final one, and with that they fall like dominoes. A flawless round for the Pirates, and the nice thing is that's at the end of the first half. All of a sudden they have an opportunity to shift this momentum. If they come out and win the pistol round, you typically win the following round as well, and all of a sudden we're looking at a tied game again.
Yeah, this was huge. This was absolutely massive, and I really gotta give some more praise to Funny Tunes there, who played that so smooth. Played it so smooth, they should change their name to Zotac Gaming PC, because they were just absolutely flawless with how they performed it. Just waiting perfectly carefully in place. They didn't immediately jump the gun, right? They recognized that maybe I need to make sure they're grouped up a little bit better so I can easily switch targets once one drops, and they performed it to perfection. So really, just no more praise I can give to John Rogers. They just played that one pitch perfect.
One pitch perfect, Tom. An early dart that doesn't find much intel. There's a flash to slow things down, but the decoy comes out, and with that, they look to stampede on toward the site there. There's a trap up, and
nice.
Shots ring out. It's Funny to find the first. Otter gets a trade, gets a second here as well, and Zen finding a 2K of their own.
Okay, teleport there from Static. Did not like that situation at all. Says, get me out of here right now. It's Yor in the clove left, and Seo's already going to take down one. Says, teleport yourself back to heaven where you belong. Now Zen trying to take down through the hallway. Is good for a good peek, but Seo gonna immediately drive them right back. Spike planted too. All the pressure on Southridge. Zen rises to the occasion, but will be dropped soon after.
Nice blind here. Gives them all the intel they need, and for Sky, they've got the health advantage. They've got another blind to work with here as well, and you see that smoke coming out. Nice one from Clove. Look at the just fight this lane off. They're gonna look in the correct direction, and Seo, damn, a triple and a flick to the dome will send them home. That is a huge clutch here for Southridge.
Amazing, amazing. That smoke was placed so pitch perfect. Unfortunately, this time the crosshair placement was just not ideal, and I don't envy the position that Zev was in there whatsoever, because you don't know if they're just going to keep on moving towards the site or if they're going to actually try to turn that corner to eliminate the threat right afterwards. But proving again why composition matters so much. You need to have someone in those situations that can kind of throw them off kilter, and that smoke was the perfect tool to do it. Instantly just makes Zev feel like they're the one trapped instead of the one setting it.
Yeah, and Zev still had a blind. Honestly, that smoke comes up, you send out that blind, get the intel, blind them, and then back off and change locations there. You've got time on your side, so unfortunately just didn't work out in their favor. It's Southridge with a nice lead, and now we talked about how when you win that first round of a half, you go on to win the second. It's an opportunity for Southridge to extend this lead as they find an opening pick here as well.
Dark Valor pinned down, didn't quite realize the danger they were in just yet. It was the Phoenix around the corner, but not going to find him. Instead, Zen's the first one to go down to Sova's bullets. Dark Valor, though, does respond, takes down Ottermelon. A huge pick for Rogers.
All of a sudden, Rogers trying to bring it back. Dark Valor's going to find CO down.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, The equalizer comes in. You take a look at the health here for Sova, and he's dangerously low as well. A real opportunity for them to work together, but Zero finding Zeb. Funny Tunes on the trade, and back and forth we go.
What's more classic than a nice little Looney Tune? Unfortunately, a bit too silly for Tom, who's stone cold serious, and Funny Tune's stone cold dead. But hey, there's one player you want to stand up against him. It might just be this Brim on the hot streak. Valor's got to really prove they live up to the name.
We got Funny Tunes, we got Tom. We're just missing Jerry out here in the action as well. Dark Valor beginning to shift through sewers. That spike is down in an awkward position. Tom waiting patiently. It's a beautiful 4K for the Sova, who'd only had 34 health. And with that, Southridge now extending that lead big time. And I think they're looking to close this one out here.
That's what I call method acting. Sova seems like the type who would just lay in the snow for hours upon end to hunt their prey down, and indeed, Tom was willing to do the exact same thing. Just recognizes we got the man advantage. There's no reason for me to get antsy about it. I'm not going to shift my spot. You got to come to me. They recognized that. They executed on it. And sadly, Rogers was on the wrong end of the guillotine.
Well, and again, you take a look at the scoreboard there. Southridge has always been able to put a minimum of 2 rounds in a row together every time that they've gotten around. It was 5 followed by 2 and then 2 more consecutive rounds here as they look for a third. But those are those big difference makers that we talked about. Ottermelon in great positioning here. He's got the
nice molly.
The molly's going to push him forward as well, and Otterman will find Dark.
Look at the separation. Dark Valor steps up while their teammate steps back. The communication was not there, or Valor was just feeling a bit too brave for their own good. Melon's got the curveball out, sends it, tries to step up to the Yoru, who dives into the smoke. But I do believe that was just a fake in the end, so not going to be in too much danger as Zen now tries to make their approach back in alongside Static. Waiting for the Cyber Cage to drop before they make their entrance. Tom lies in wait once again, and Ottermelon finds the captain.
Yeah, Yoru almost went down there. Luckily, he was able to teleport to safety, and he did get healed up for the time being, but now we'll get eliminated, and Funny Tunes goes down to Ottermelon on a triple. Static finds Tom. Can he get one more? They continue to dance around the smoke. What disaster! Ottermelon! Nice to meet you, my friend. He's got the 4K, and Southridge up to 10.
That was like that was so cinematic, like the last thing you see before the camera cuts to black, just like the gun butt to the head. Yeah! And Rogers will go down. It's just like you mentioned, Hot Sauce. Southridge can't help but string multiple victories together. And that puts so much pressure onto Rogers. Every victory, it feels like they're starving. And Southridge have an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's Cece's Pizza out here.
I mean, realistically, this could be an 8-7 in favor of the Pirates right now. There was at least 3, but maybe 4 or 5 rounds that could have gone either way. We've seen some very close rounds that come down to the final member where Southridge has just been able to pull out that clutch, and now they've doubled that lead. They're just 2 away from match point, and they continue to lock it down, but it's the Pirates stampeding toward the A side. Zen will eventually find Tom, but Tom takes out Dark at the start of things.
Okay, so 1 for 1 so far. Now we make it 2. As Funny Tunes goes down, Zero will be the answer. Smowdown as well. Ottermelon trades out for Static, takes down Zen right after, runs it right back, says, "You're not done with me just yet. I'm coming for the captain."
Ottermelon, that is 2 quadra kills in a row and back-to-back rounds now. And speaking of amazing things, we need to give another shout out to one of our famous sponsors here in LANFest.
Dang it.
We want to thank LANFest for always building healthy communities through gaming. With over 20 chapters across the United States here, and there are more than 150 plus events per year. We strongly encourage you to head on over to LANFest.com and be sure to check out the Washington chapters as well. We've got Inferno Land and Emerald City LANFest to find an event near you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love LANFest for giving us the opportunity to watch amazing talent like this. This game, I gotta say, definitely closest that we've seen, I feel like, on stream for a long time, but not as close as you might expect, like you mentioned as well. Rogers absolutely have the opportunity to get back in, but they gotta start to get that Southridge mojo themselves. They need to start streaking together multiple round victories, Dimensional Drift, just to get the intel, because Zen realizes just how needed it is. Dark Valor not gonna be saved by the information, because Zera's got a bullet to the head.
Yeah, and they realize it's going to be too tough to make this push. That Hunter's Fury did come out a bit early, but they find a pick. They get that player's advantage, and so just working to closing out this game. If an ult leads to a round win when you're this close to victory, I say no harm, no fouls. In beginning to linger to the back of the site, but it's Otterman. The flick of the wrist, he finds one. The blind goes out. He's in a bit of trouble. The secondary blind is there as well. Ring around the rosy, but Funny Tunes will put him down.
Great blind there by the Sky there to answer back those curveballs. Funny Tunes going to take down Seodan right after. Makes it a 3 for 3, but the health bar is not quite favoring Rogers in this moment. Zara around the corner. Stall's got the sniper rifle if they want to back them up, but up close and personal, not going to be the best weapon to do so. La Nota leaves Zev for the Crows. Funny Tune's going to go down as well, but Southridge at the end of the day stand strong.
Match point.
And again, I mean, we saw 5 rounds followed by 2 rounds, and well, now I think we're up to 5 rounds in a row yet again here from Southridge. Both of these teams 6-1, but the stars just not aligning here for the Pirates today. Southridge came out with a game plan, and they have executed it near flawlessly. They've got the funds. They've got a full buy. The op in the hands of Zira, and a real strong case to close things out here. It's a full buy for Rogers, but the armor, a big lackluster. I think the only thing that favors them now is that ult economy. They've got 2 versus the 0.
That op is going to tear through them like rice paper. Dark Valor waiting to see if you want to step up. I don't think it's the best decision. 10 out of 10 doctors do not recommend. Zara comes away with their head.
Oh no, an Ottermelon stepping forward, finding Funny Tunes. Seodan, La Pedal, Nota, and they begin to fall like dominoes. It's all down to Zen to pull out the win. It's a 5v1, and what a cinema it could be if they could find a way to get the clutch.
Oh no, already drops down the decay, but Zen will not have their way. Seodan does resurrect, gonna chase him right down. We're shooting demons, we're shooting ghosts, but Zara finishes it off by taking down their doppelganger. I am the best Yoru.
Whew, 13-5 for 2 teams that are very close. 2 teams that lost to the same team to get here at 6-1, and unfortunately, it just wasn't the day here for the Pirates, and we all have those tough days, but man, Southridge was playing lights out on the other side of things. I think it was a combination of both here as you take a look at some of those score lines. I mean, Zen had 5 first bloods. He had a lot of these opening picks here to really set this squad up for success.
The Z squad, you can't sleep on them. You were not sleeping on the Z squad whatsoever. They're putting folks to sleep instead. But I don't know, they just ran out of gas very quickly, it seemed like, right? They had those first 2 wins, and instantly I was like, oh, shoot, Rogers are kind of killing it. They're kind of nasty with it, and they still are. But Southridge just managed to kind of do that divide and conquer, right? That's what this map's all about when you got 3 sites to deal with. Southridge seemed to understand how to play the map just a bit better. They were using their utility a bit better. I think the Clove Smokes were overall just being used a bit more wisely than Dark Valor with the Brim, and sometimes Dark Valor would almost ignore their own smoke, ignore their own cover, and would find themselves on the receiving end of the bullets instead of the enemy.
Yeah, and honestly, even though it was 13-5, the scoreline doesn't do the game justice because we mentioned it earlier. I mean, there were 4 or 5 rounds where it came down to a single player on each side, and there were a couple times where the Pirates had that health advantage or they had a 2v1, but it was just these crazy clutches that played out in favor of Southridge. So even though it was a 13-5 scoreline, the game's certainly much closer than that. I mean, both of these teams should hold their heads high, high. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way of the Pirates as they'll fall to 6-2. But Southridge now 7-1. I know one of these only few teams that have only suffered 1 loss, much like the other juggernauts of Perry or Kamas that is up there toward that top of the scene there. So all in all, still a great day of Valorant.
Absolutely. No, very happy to see all the action we got on the screen. Also happy to give a quick little thank you to one more of our friendly sponsors here. Big thank you to Seattle-built PCs for their continued support of WSSEA. Seattle-built PCs are the custom PC builders trusted by the pros since 2020. They've been crafting incredible rigs for world-famous esports players, content creators with millions of fans, and even the developers of your favorite games. Seattle wants to work with you to create the perfect PC for your needs whenever you're ready. So if you're looking for a custom PC built by people who care, check out Seattle-built PCs at seattlebuilt.com.
That's right. We want to give a huge shout out to all the sponsors here today, from Zotac Gaming to Landfest to Seattle-built PCs. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you and your continued support here. But it certainly has been another wonderful day in the booth with you, D-Lo. I got to say, it's always a fun time regardless of the outcome here, but it's just great to get out here and watch and showcase some of the young, wonderful talent here in Scholastic Esports.
Absolutely. A lot of fun here in the mic, a lot of fun. Helpfully out of the field, no matter which side of it you are on, as these teams, once again, starting to near that boiling point, playoffs on the horizon, right? These last few games regular season are so important for deciding the momentum that you come into those more competitive series with. So hopefully, even if you're on the losing end of that, like you always say, my friend, there's no losers in these games, there's only learners. So hopefully we got some good lessons being taken up there by our friends on Rogers and Southridge. A hearty congratulations to you. But unfortunately, that is indeed all we're going to have for you here today on WSSEA Week 8 Valorant action here. I've been D-Lo, joined by my friend Hot Sauce in the booth. We've had our almighty eyes in the sky, Connie and Taylor. Please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. And last, but certainly never least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky tomorrow for some Smash Bros. Action, same time. Until then, good games and good night.
Peace.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Kill them.
Last player standing. That's 3. One enemy remaining.
Joke's over! Double dead.
Sleep, brother.
One enemy remaining. Spike down mid.